I put some knee-high socks on um, to try to protect myself a little bit, and then I got kicked off the internet. So I just wanted to pop back on and kind of pick up where I left off and say that you know, I don't, I have no love for any Democrat politicians, right? But the reason that I'm talking about this stuff is because we need to unify people. There are people on the left and the right that both have like part of it right, and then all this other crap all totally fucking, it's all propaganda. That's how they do it, you know. People aren't entirely stupid. They're very easy to manipulate. Um, so, they mix truth and bullshit into both sides' narratives, and that way they've always got somebody. I hope I did a good enough job of explaining that. But what I'm saying about the gas thing, because this is a major wedge issue, this is something they're using to divide people, and the right wingers are eating it up. That Joe Biden is somehow like just decided to make gas $6 an hour and fuck everyone, and it's he's he can't even wipe his own ass. He's not doing anything like that. And the crazy thing is that you guys are so, the people that are buying this narrative are so quick to just repeat the shit that you're finding on the internet or whatever it is you're doing. Um, that the actual people responsible for the high gas prices are talking about it publicly. Why they made they're like the board of energy, gas and energy, all Republicans, and they're saying things like, "We have an obligation to our stockholders to pay, huge dividends." And one of them actually said a couple days ago, especially during great market cycles like this one. So the very people that are going, "Oh, Joe Biden is the one making the gas prices so high by putting sanctions on Russia and all this," the people that are writing those scripts are making billions of dollars off of the high gas prices, and they're the people writing the propaganda. The people writing the propaganda are the ones that are actually profiting from it. Joe Biden probably has tons of Exxon Mobil stock and all of this, but this is what people have got to get through their heads, you know? And you really have to look at how the propaganda is engineered and why it is that big pharma has used their fear and their manipulative propaganda on the left, because these are the ones that were interested in natural medicine, that didn't trust big pharma. You know what I mean? And that is why they have targeted them, right? And the right has been conditioned to blindly support big energy and big business. Use this, like, they somehow believe that protecting the rights of billionaires and defending you guys on the right, most of you are not capitalists. You're pawns. The capitalists are the people that have the money. You don't have any money. If this narrative that the right likes to preach, uh, that in the United States, all you got to do is work hard and you can be a millionaire. Why aren't you all rich? If that's the truth, pull yourself up by your fucking bootstraps and go buy some expensive gas, because you should be able to make the money. You know what I mean? Listen to yourselves. You're not even making sense, because you've been conditioned your entire life to feel self-righteous when you spew bullshit. And you can see the left doing it because you don't have exactly the same conditioning that they have, and vice versa. You know, it's that simple. And transcending the division created by all this propaganda is the only hope we have of defeating the enemy. It's that simple. I wish I could do a better job of talking about this, but I am getting eaten alive. Um, Look at that. It's like I'm literally sitting in the jungle, and you can say like, why wouldn't you put on bug spray or something? But you can't even buy it here. Even if I wanted to hose myself down in petrochemicals at the moment, um, I couldn't actually do it. So I have a little bit more daylight, and I had planned to really go off the deep end about this political stuff, but I don't really feel like it now that I'm talking about it. I, you know, I just really mostly this gas thing because I've seen it in my chats. The Democrats are doing this and blah blah blah. And I'm like, you fucking morons. You realize that, and I'm sorry to talk about my own viewers that way, but this shit is so absurd that I can't help it. And I love you guys except for your propaganda based bullshit. Uh, you know, God forgive them because they know not what they do, I guess. But it's true. I was thinking like, this has got nothing to do with Joe Biden. This is just the people that are actually making the money are just blaming them to keep you guys divided. That's how this works. And you should know that by now. Uh, just look into economics of energy in the United States. You will not find a single economist that will say, "Oh yeah, the president has huge influence on gas prices." What has huge influence on gas prices is a like coalition of Republican big energy executives. That's who's fucking you. And then they're turning you into like their like rabid pit bull mouthpiece to stir up a bunch of hate and misdirect the blame so that you don't climb over their gated community fences and come and eat them. That's, come on, guys. I mean, that's it. It's misdirection. It's bullshit. And they're actually, one more time, these big oil executives are actually talking about how this is a great market cycle and how they are not going to lower the prices because they want to pay their stockholders great dividends. That is the reason. And they're all Republicans. So it's just I can't take it anymore, guys. Everybody's got to figure this stuff out, man. It's just too dumb to watch. It's too dumb to watch. The left eating itself alive. I'm still convinced, by the way, that what this is really about ultimately is, making one party for Emperor IllumiGnostic to rule the earth. The left was more threat, so they're engineering a situation where they're eliminating the left, and then once they have basically one party in the United States, that's when the real fascist is going to come crashing down, unless people figure it out now. You know, the left has lost its mind largely. That is correct, but the right wing is no refuge for anyone. It is no refuge. It has always been an international embarrassment, and it still is. It always will be. You know, you just have to be realistic about this. It's and people need to stop focusing on it. What we need to be focusing on is our own inner development, our own skill sets. Healing the damage that living in this dominator culture has done to us over thousands of years. Our fucking destroyed immune systems. You know, the inflammation in our diets. I mean, if you really look at it all, it really does, kind of support David Icke's and his crazy idea that there are advanced reptilian aliens engineering it all, because it almost does seem like something that understands inflammation and what that does to your brain and your body. I mean, yeah, most of you guys watching this probably are regularly watch my channel, so you know I've struggled with all these health problems and stuff, and I'm starting to get a lot better, right? And it blows my mind when I think about the fact that I have never had a mainstream American diet, right? Like I drank Coca-Cola at my grandmother's when we were there sometimes, but most of my life I have eaten organic and avoided the worst stuff at least. And what was making me so sick largely was just inflammation, and it had affected my brain. I know a lot of you guys appreciate the content that I've created, but when I look at a lot of it, and how unfocused I was, and some of the things that I said, just don't. It's just not me. It's really shocking. Um, and the Western diet is basically engineered to cause inflammation. It could be just a convenient circumstance, you know. Um, but the point is that we need to focus on our inner development. We have to stop letting the politicos divide us. Most people on the left mean well. Most people on the right mean well. And most of the issues that create the most contention and the most division are just engineered to do that. And they're totally based in bullshit. And, if you want a little message of hope, I know a lot of you guys took part in the poll that I did, because a great supporter, he's become a friend, I think, um, at least from my point of view. He, he said, that he thought maybe I was too round the edges, and that my message is, true, but it doesn't have any of that fluffy saccharine stuff that sells. So, maybe I would never be able to grow my audience much. I think it has more to do with not having advertising money and stuff, but so I did a poll. And 70% of you or something said that you thought that it wouldn't stop me um, from growing. But here's some fluffiness, I guess, is the point, sort of. But it's true and it's real. Um, I say that truth is self-substantiating, and um, there is shadow, but there is that which remains, right? Shadow dissolves, and there's that which remains, and it's it's not unlike when you're panning for gold, which I was just doing the other day in a stream down the road. And when you get down to the black sand, you take these magnets and you go around in the black sand, and you suck up all of the worthless, and it happens to be dark, right? And you get all the junk out, and there's the gold that's left. This process is always happening in the universe, and not coincidentally, it is the same forces that are doing it. The electromagnetics that are kind of sculpting, giving form to the light and energy and consciousness that makes up the fabric of our reality. We can look forward to a more sane moment in human evolution. Maybe I can't, because I'm still getting eaten alive, by the way. You guys are welcome. I mean, I'm committed. I'm committed, right? I mean, look, you guys, like, it's funny to be in a vegan community getting eaten by things, right? But you know what I'm saying? We can look forward to a more sane moment in human evolution because of the inevitability of the uh, action of these laws, and the ultimate result being that the shadow is gone, the bullshit is gone, the magnets pass through, and all of the crap sticks to them, and there's only the gold left. This is the fundamentally how life works. This is how the universe works. Um, and So patience and determination, we can have some degree of faith that if we play our part and do our role, things will work out and everything will make sense in the end. The hand of God is passing those magnets around the black sand, and what's left is the light, is the truth, the gold. Only things of substance can have any duration. You know, only truth is built to last, right? So the universal process of alchemical transmutation will bring us inevitably to a higher place of clarity where reason is law, right? And there is no other law. The laws of man only exist because people have been made to be dependent. A spiritually evolved and aware human race has no need for rules and law. How have the ceremonies been? I haven't had any ceremonies lately. Um, but yeah, let's I mean, I'm beating a dead horse now, I guess. It's true though, and I really, when I was passing those magnets around the gold pan and sucking up all the black worthless metal and only the gold was left, it's those moments where I realized that there's only one process happening in the universe, and it's that. So, um, but the ceremonies, actually, that is an interesting question because I'm actually going to go into the jungle in, what is it, Tuesday, in a couple of days, and I'm going to drink ayahuasca near the sacred waterfalls of the Shuar. They're magnificent. One of them comes out of like it's basically a hole in a cliff, and there's just millions of gallons of water pouring through it. It's really incredible. The water is crystal clear. And then there's another waterfall where they say these water spirits live, and we will go there and have like a mapacho tobacco ceremony. Um, but it's actually the first facilitator that I ever drank ayahuasca with. I haven't drank with him in many years, um, and I'm doing it partly because, goddamn these bugs. Partly because I was sick for so long. I drink a couple times when it's someone else's responsibility before I start facilitating again in Hawaii. Um, we've had a hell of a week. I mean, we're basically just scrambling to figure out how to get the finances together to pay this lease so that we have a place to have this retreat, which is going to be amazing. We have a full restaurant, a really nice kitchen, and I'm going to take people out into the jungle. There's, uh, so um, yeah, we're really looking forward to it, but it's a struggle to get the money together in time because we're running low on time, and someone just got our debit card number. We're going to get the money refunded, but our bank account got tapped again. Can you believe that? First we get hacked twice, and now somebody has compromised our debit card. So we had to cancel the debit card, but now we have no way to get money out of the bank until we get the new one, which can't be shipped to Ecuador. It'll take months. So I need one of you guys to go to Breckenridge and then book a flight down here, pick up our debit card at Breckenridge, and then fly down here. I'll give you a huge discount on your on your ceremonies. Yeah, man, that it sucked that that happened. What it did. So yeah, 2 ceremonies this weekend. I'll let you guys know how that all goes. Um, you know, we just have to have diligence and determination. My parting message here is that you gotta stop this primate urge to look to leadership. Stop thinking that there's going to be, what right wingers and Trump, that was completely stupid. The guy is a piece of shit. And on the left, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, for people that are supposed to be liberal to support those two sacks of shit, you know, just stop it. Stop it. Don't fall for it. Anyone ever again, just stop falling for it. Quit it. Stop it. Stop it. Just stop it. We're going to create something new. It's creating itself. That's what the universe does. You know what I mean? Have to transcend the old world political structures because they are complete and total trash. They're not partly trash. They're not partly corrupt. They are total trash and they are totally corrupt, right? And the universe is partly automatic and it's partly a matter of conscious creation. And we are the tools and the avatars of that consciousness, right? We have to, you're a god, act like one. We're a goddess, god or goddess, act like one. You have to co create with the universe. And what that means is dissolving your automatic patterns and impulses. You have to learn to observe your own subconscious as it manifests in your conscious activity. And you have to, the first thing, I've watched a lot of people wake up, right? And their first one is political. People wake up from the political thing and they progressively realize that all of their political conditioning, all of the politicians they've ever supported, all of the American dream lies that they've ever, I mean, the term American dream was a marketing scheme from the banks to get everyone in debt. You know what I mean? Like it was always a lie. It was always a trick. It was always a trap. And whether you're right or left, you're wrong. It's not your fault. You were propagandized. It's okay. But you have to take responsibility for eradicating the influences of this shit from your being in totality. You know, not by a heap or a lump or a smidgen. Totally in toto. All of it has got to go. All of it. And my personal opinion is that the universe will surprise us. It's hard to imagine a solution coming along at this point. Um, Not because the solution is so difficult to conceive of, not because answers are so elusive, but because the resistance, the combination of people being so entrenched in their ideologies, so heavily indoctrinated and brainwashed, even the people that are less brainwashed are still pretty heavily brainwashed, and then we have the power and the depth, the roots of the elite, how deeply they're sunk in, and the size of their guns and atom bombs and all that. I mean, it is formidable, is just a terrific understatement, you know, but that is all shadow, and shadows pass, and there is that which remains, which is light. So, you know, also when you think about the sheer magnitude and the quantity of the crap. Do you know how much coal has to be compressed to make a single diamond? Atom bombs aren't all they're cracked up to be. I mean, kindling the same energy that lights the stars upon your neighbors is pretty gangster. It doesn't mean you should do it. Um, it's godlike. It really is to like, oh yeah, fuck with us. We're gonna drop a star on your city. I mean, wow. Um, but there's probably better ways to interact with our neighbors than burning their shadows into the sidewalk. I mean, maybe it's just me, but do me a favor too, you guys. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, support us. One of the various ways on my in the description of one of my other videos, because I didn't make a description for this one, For those of you that are just tuning in, man, I tried to do the first half of this and I was getting eaten alive by bugs. A bullet ant bit me on the toe, which is the most painful insect sting there is. And yet I'm still here with you guys, doing my best to maintain some focus and and deliver something worthwhile. Um, but yeah, you guys, again, the analogy that I made of the magnets pulling the black sand, the worthless stuff, and the gold that remains, those same magnetic waves give rise to all the phenomena in the universe, and that is the fundamental function of it. Uh, it's higher and higher levels of symmetry, and we can see in the laws of nature that entrainment is drawing all of the cycles higher and higher and higher. Um, so, and the reason to focus on the hope, the light at the end of the tunnel, is that we might stop fighting if we just realize that all of the trials and tribulations are but stepping stones. What is that old Bob Dylan song? Leave your stepping stones behind. There's something calls for you. Forget about the dead you left. They will not follow you. Strike another match and start anew because it's all over now, baby blue. It's that. Without all of the mass of black carbon, there would be no diamonds. And without the pressure to create tension, there could never be harmony. Harmony has as its basis tension. The resolution of, orgasm will not happen without tension. Um, I mean, you guys know all this. They taught this stuff in like fourth grade creative writing class. Um, you know, and it's true. We just cannot let them pit us against each other. We have to abandon the entirety of the right versus left polemic. You know, it's it's mind blowing to realize how much more divided people are than at any other time in my life. But for me, as a person that's kind of standing outside of it, I can see that the right and the left have more common ground than they ever have, probably ever. I mean, I've been alive for 42 years, but I've talked to people that were around in the 60s, and it doesn't sound like people were getting on too well back then. Probably a lot worse. You know what I mean? Like, that's why they're doing it. We could so easily unify, and they would become obsolete. And this is what we have to strive towards: embracing our own sovereignty, taking responsibility for guiding ourselves. We have to negate the necessity of being led through self development, self awareness, skill development, intentional increases in intelligence. Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, they're Neff Bear. They think they're getting along worse, but that's what really the thing that I'm the most mad at the left for right now. It's not the stuff they're saying, and the right can still be really embarrassing the way that they go about their criticisms. Um, but what bothers me, I guess. Okay, so let's frame this. The gender thing, for example. And I'm at basically a commune with a bunch of hippies right now, and they're all on the same page with me. Um, which is one of the reasons I'm so convinced that the perception of division is being created. It's not actually as real, even. Most of these people probably identify as left, but they agree with most right wingers about the insanity of a lot of the left wing wedge issues, I guess. It's really quite remarkable. The more I look at it, it really seems like the reality that a lot of us think we're living in only exists in social media. You know what I mean? It's not. It's maybe not even real. But what I'm saying is that, when in like 2000 or the 1960s, the left was focusing on personal freedom. Like drugs should be legalized. Um, the environment should be protected. Uh, and war is not cool. I mean, that all makes sense and it all sounds important. So what has happened is that the propaganda machine has taken what are legitimate issues like gay rights and trying to mitigate harm that is done to people that are different because they might be gay or transgendered, or you know what I mean. All of that makes sense, but it's like the propaganda machine, once we got to where we needed to be, they had to dangle some kind of carrots or to keep the narrative going to maintain the division. So they made the focus of the left increasingly more and more petty, more and more misguided, um, to the extremes that we have, like transgendered men competing in MMA and almost killing women and stuff. I mean, so my big disappointment is that the left has allowed themselves to have their focus taken away from the things that really matter and the issues that really gave them substance. And they're being led to, focus on all these ridiculous distractions to the point where they're actually becoming destructive. Um, as I'm always saying, I knew that people were sheep, but I'm surprised. I'm I'm surprised that they've been successful at that. And I think, there's always a silver lining. There's always a silver lining. And I'm not trying to make light of war, but I think if there's any good to come from the Ukraine-Russia situation, maybe getting the left to refocus a little bit on something of more substance, um, because they are putting an awful lot of energy into making things happen that shouldn't even be happening, really, if you follow me. I mean, I am all about people being able to express themselves in any way that they want, anyone having the same rights as anyone else, no matter what, you know. But when we have people, you know, hating people for suggesting that maybe men shouldn't be able to compete in women's swimming, for example, while there are wars raging all around the planet, it's just it's tragic. It's beyond tragic, you know. And I think part of the reason it's happening is that there are so many atrocities, uh, so many things that no one would tolerate being perpetrated by the U.S. government and other governments, that they have to find ways to distract everyone. Otherwise, everybody will figure out what's going on and they will unify, and real change will happen. I mean, again, you guys, we have to remember that the only reason there is so much energy going into dividing us right now is that we were so close to making things make sense. Finally, for the first time in modern history, people were actually starting to largely become reasonable, tolerant. Um, Conversations that I never would have imagined would be possible with a right winger are easy to have these days. Um, we really are closer than ever to a unified, enlightened, reasonable human race, or at least we were. it's really just like a thin veil. It's like just as we all have this veil that we have to pierce in order to become illuminated, the collective also has to pierce the veil. And the veil is not very thin and it's not very hard to find because the illusion is so thin. You know, they really do have to put a tremendous amount of effort into ensuring that enough people don't pierce the collective veil, you know what I mean? To expose the wizard behind the curtain. And I think it could be, it's very likely that it will be their efforts, their very efforts to delude and ensnare and divide, that those efforts have to become so over the top that is what will ultimately end up exposing them. And not only exposing them, but dethroning them. So I have to walk up a mountain in the dark, in the jungle, in a few minutes. So I should probably get off of here. I appreciate all of you guys' support. You know, I really am trying to do good things down here, and I am demonetized. And not only that, but they are burying content like this. Um, on Facebook, for example, they actually notified me. Hi, Nagwal. You want to say hi? Say hi, everybody. Um, but they notified me that they're burying my posts. So it's cool that they tell you that. But, even if I try to promote my videos now, not only am I not getting cooperation from the algorithm, they're buried in, it doesn't matter if I post them in groups or so, if you guys have favorite content of mine, I really appreciate if you share it because I need to grow the audience. The mystery schools and the Book of the Law commentary videos, the next two are almost done, so look for those early this week. Please do support us on PayPal, Patreon, Zelle, cryptocurrency somehow, because it is getting harder and harder to do this. And I really hope that some of you guys can come here and visit us and learn the plant medicine and the hermetic magic. I'm actually I'm going to do apprenticeships with the right people. Man, Nick, commentary on 777. Do you know how tedious and technical and I mean, it would be. Do you know what that book is? It is nothing but gematria correspondences and numbers and stuff. I mean, um, but you're a patron, I think, aren't you? I am going to do something like that in over the next few weeks in the Patreon secret streams. I'm going to start weaving all of these occult correspondences from the trumps, the tarot trumps, to the Jungian archetypes, horoscope signs, and kind of show how all of these things are interconnected because that's really what all that stuff is about: condensing meaning, making concrest uh, symbols that are concrest meaning, right? So that we can develop a more holistic perception of the universe and to encourage these processes to be automatic by conditioning ourselves with incredibly tedious stuff like Crowley 777. Um, but yeah, the retreat thing, by the way, you guys, there's going to be a lot of different options because there's so much that we can do. If you're here, one of the easiest options is that you can rent a room where we're going to be for a month, 2 months, as much time as you have, and then just kind of decide on the activities as you go. But you can only pay for your lodging and then add whatever you want, hikes to the caverns, learning about plant medicine, learning about hermetic magic. My goal is to make this as affordable as possible. But one of the issues that I'm having is that we have a partner and she's doing normal businesses. So if I don't like reserve the blocks for the rooms and the space, it can get taken up by the other ventures. So if you guys are planning to come, considering coming, you need to get in touch with me right away, because the spaces, there's not that many. There's only 5 rooms, and I'm really looking for just a handful of people to come for a few weeks. I'm not going to do large groups. I want to be able to focus on each individual. Um, I hate big ceremonies. I think it's unethical, really. I want to be able to focus on everyone and give them the attention that they need and deserve, and also organize small trips out into the jungle. So, yeah, that jungle. So thank you guys so much for spending this time with me, and I'll be back in the next couple of days with probably the Book of the Law. Oh, check it out before I go real quick. The next, I guess, stanza? I don't know. The Book of the Law is just like 1 line, 2 lines, 3. You know what I mean? It's like 1 line at a time. But the 4th stanza, I guess, his commentary is super long and technical. So it's the only one that I've dedicated an entire video to just 1 line. And it's, I think, almost an hour. And the line is, every number is infinite, there is no difference. And I just want to warn you guys in advance that it's extremely dense and technical. You could just watch the first 10 minutes and the last 10 minutes and skip all of the stuff in the middle, because it's a lot of just like relativity and how subjective our perception is. But one of the most profound and extraordinary proofs of like the Hermetic axiom that the all is in the all, the holographic nature of the universe, everything containing its contradiction, the importance of the gnosis, and Crowley's work in the Book of the Law is that it gives demonstrable, provable metaphysical axioms. And the fact that if you multiply or divide, a number by 0, put it in your calculator, you're going to get infinity, right? So also, if you divide a number and just keep dividing, and dividing, it contains infinity. Every number is infinite. And also the fact that you can reveal this by dividing by 0 is like a demonstration, or a revelation that nothingness contains within it the seed of infinity, because part of the equation for infinity, for deriving infinity, is 0. Even the symbol of a 0 has nothing in the center and a line that goes in a circle that you could follow for all of infinity. Even the symbol contains the contradictory. So anyways, what I'm getting at, I don't want to give it all away right now, but that line and the commentary, man, if you have the patience, it's well worth it. So check it out. It should be tomorrow or the next day. I will have it up by the evening. So we'll see you very soon, and thank you once again. Remember, IllumiGnostic for Emperor of Duh Erf might be our only hope.